let me paint you a picture. It's a warm June morning. You wake up, you do your routine as normal, brush your teeth, get your clothes on, go and say hi to your pet. Or you try to. You realise your pet is nowhere to be found. You look in every room, in every nook, in every cranny, but he's gone. You run outside to ask your neighbour if maybe they've seen him, but they're gone too. So you run to the next street, and it's empty, and then the next, and it's empty, and then the next, and the next, and the next, but they're all empty. Where is everybody? You slowly but surely realise that the whole town has disappeared from right under your nose. An oppressive silence has fallen over your hometown, and you have no idea why. You are alone, and there is nothing that you can do. Does this sound familiar? Is it ringing any bells? It might do, because we are, of course, referring to the harrowing case.
Of National No SpongeBob Day! Hello everybody!
Welcome to the first ever episode of Are the Kids
All
Alright? Where we reinvestigate your childhood favourites to see if they really are as good as you remember. I'm Annie.
I'm Molly.
And today we'll be your guides as we deep dive into the first ever episode on SpongeBob SquarePants. Kids love weird. Their brains are developing and their imaginations are as active as my Mr. Krabs fan account. That is to say, very. It's not every day that children's TV shows really not only entertain their audiences, but properly speak their language of complete and utter strangeness. And that's probably why SpongeBob has managed to stay in production for longer than either of us has been alive.
No way.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's older than either of us.
That is so crazy. That is a terrible bit.
But how did it all begin? Let's rewind back to the start.
Are you ready?
SpongeBob SquarePants is the brainchild of Steven Hillenburg, an American marine biologist and animator.
And icon.
The concept of anthropomorphized ocean dwellers was born from Hildenburg's work educating the general public about all things sea life. He created this picture book, it was called The Intertidal Zone, which was intended to teach kids about marine life in a fun, engaging way. But it wasn't until he began working with his fellow animator, Joe Murray, that Hillenburg even considered that the contents of the Intertidal Zone could become a TV show.
Imagine he'd never thought about that.
And after a few dozen rounds of character drafts and a lot of fighting with the Nickelodeon team, who originally demanded Hillenburg make the protagonist a child. Yeah, that would be...
I mean, he kind of is. He's got a childlike joy to him, a childlike whimsy.
Did you know that canonically SpongeBob was originally supposed to be 31 years old?
31?
31 years old.
Imagine you met a 31-year-old and they acted like that. I wouldn't know what to do.
So the show began airing on Nickelodeon in US on the 17th of July, 1999, making its way across the Atlantic 1 year later. Steven Hillenburg worked as an executive producer on SpongeBob until he was physically unable to due to complications from LAS. And when he sadly passed away in 2018, his ashes were scattered across the Pacific, a fitting goodbye for an ocean lover.
Aww. R.I.P.
SpongeBob has a straightforward premise. We follow the titular SpongeBob SquarePants, a plucky yellow sea sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea and flips burgers. All the standard stuff.
Yeah, okay, look. As you could probably tell from our introduction, which was the completely real premise of the SpongeBob episode Gone, this isn't like a standard cartoon. I mean, aside from a sea sponge, which Hillenburg only chose because it was actually the weirdest thing that he could possibly think of, which I get. I mean, weirdest, in Bikini Bottom, where SpongeBob lives, there's a bodybuilding lobster, there's a pufferfish who teaches them how to drive the boats, and there's a squirrel in a spacesuit. So I don't know if the sponge really was the weirdest thing that Hillenburg could think of. As they took it to the producers, they said it was like nothing they had ever seen before, and so it got the green light. And the rest is history. 2.5 decades and 15 seasons later, it's still going strong.
Well, depending on who you ask.
I knew you'd bring this up. I know, some people say it isn't as good anymore, but that's what we're here to decide. The unique identity is part of the reason we chose the show for today. In its 26 years of production, it's gone on to hold a pretty significant place in the cultural consciousness. It's become the stuff of Broadway musicals, and memes, and endless terrifying attractions for children. You don't need to have grown up with the show to know who Squidward is, or what a Krabby Patty is, or why Mr. Krabs is the best character. You just need to have been on the internet in the past sort of 10 years. I mean, do you remember Handsome Squidward?
Yes, and the mocking SpongeBob memes.
Do you know the one that's like, are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? When I brought this up to people, they didn't remember it, but it's like etched in my brain.
My favorite one is the little guy eating the burger at the table.
He's so sad.
That one's like the one that's like the big one at the moment.
But what's the secret? Why has SpongeBob endured? And once all is said and done, is it even that good? That's what we're here to figure out. But to figure out what the show meant to the people who grew up watching it, Mitchell is on the ground.
Yes, Mitchell.
Woo!
What's up, guys? Today we're here at Bristol Aquarium to find out what people really think about SpongeBob SquarePants. Let's go have a look. I am here with the beautiful Dominic Porto, the incredible Henry Lee, Molly Hipkiss. Fancy seeing you here.
No. My name's not Molly.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually Molly's twin. My name is Nolly.
What is your thoughts on SpongeBob SquarePants?
I like him. He's great. It's a good show. Great man, great guy.
Okay.
Absolutely hate it. I think it's the worst show ever made. Yeah.
Aim a bit higher before I cook. But you know what they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, I used to watch it quite a lot. I mean, I don't know if I watched it more than any other cartoons, but I watched it quite a lot.
Do you have a favourite SpongeBob episode?
I really like Doodlebug. The
Doodlebug?
Doodlebug
Ah, I
episode.
like Doodlebug.
Because it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary
It's
episode.
Doodlebug on his own, scary as hell. That's a horrible concept, drawing a clone of yourself that is evil and destroys the world.
My favourite one was always, I don't know what it's called, but the one where Squidward gets locked in a freezer.
Okay,
And he accidentally like time travels.
They go into Sandy's tank.
Oh, yeah.
And then she forgets to give them water.
I see, yeah.
I really like it.
Oh
'cause-
yeah, that's the one with the where he's waiting for bringing. I need.
Yeah, I really like that because you get to see SpongeBob suffer a lot.
What's your favourite SpongeBob character?
My favourite SpongeBob, I've always liked Larry. He's not in it that much. I just
That's
like
a
him.
rogue shout.
He's a cool guy. He looks cool. He's strong.
Looks like you know, ripped like a Greek god.
I'm a big fan of Squidward.
Ooh, I see that. I could see that.
I love Plankton.
Oh,
I love Squidward.
you know what? Somehow I could have guessed that. What about least favourite?
See, I got some issues with Mr. Krabs. I feel like I don't like how greedy he is.
There's a few that I'm not that big on. I mean, other crustaceans. Mr. Krabs is a bit sketchy, man.
Okay,
I
how come?
don't know, I've always thought, Plankton, not too bad. Karen, I like Karen as well. They're running a good ship over there.
They're grinding. They're doing their best.
They're doing their best. And Mr. Krabs, he's a capitalist pig. He's
It's PG. It's PG.
Fly out of here, man.
Quite like Mr. Krabs. Anyone that makes SpongeBob's life more of a misery, that's good for me.
You might be the first person to say that you like Mr. Krabs. So we've got a lot of Mr. Krabs here today. I won't lie.
Can't see why.
Breathe on your own time. I don't pay you to breathe.
You hardly pay us at all.
Right, after speaking to some people here at Bristol Aquarium, it's safe to say that SpongeBob SquarePants still holds up to people today. So, back to you guys over at the studio.
Thanks, Mitchell. There were some pretty offensive takes about Mr. Krabs in that, but I don't have time to explain why they were wrong, so we're gonna have to move on.
Breathe.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen Hillenburg may have been a marine biologist, but can you become one too through watching SpongeBob?
No.
Okay, you know what time it is. That's right.
I'm on.
It's time to learn! So, Molly, let's get into it. Would a sea sponge really live in a pineapple?
No. No. Sponges tend to live in much shallower waters. I've been reading that they attach themselves to rocks and tend to not move at all once they reach adulthood. Sort of similar to how barnacles attach to hard surfaces, even though they're a completely different species. Fun fact about sea sponges, they've actually been around for 600 million years. That's 200 million years before any life actually made its way onto the surface of the Earth. Some scientists reckon they were actually among the world's first animals.
That is so cool. So when SpongeBob was a caveman, that was like actually historically accurate.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Okay, what about crabs? Mr. Krabs is my favourite and he should be your favourite character too. Are all crabs as entrepreneurial as Mr. Krabs?
In a way, I suppose. With my crab facts, I found They're not fussy. They eat wherever they can get their hands or claws on, which is go-getting. I mean, barnacles, seaweed, even smaller crabs, whatever it takes to keep them from going hungry. It's a crab eat crab sea out there, you know.
So focused on their goals, just like Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, if that helps you understand.
How about Patrick? Is he true to real life?
Well, you know what, actually? Sort of. Yes. Starfish don't have brains, so they're definitely not very smart. And sometimes they do live on rocks. So that one's actually not far from the truth. They don't tend to wear swimming trunks, though.
Obviously. I mean, why would a starfish wear clothes?
Yeah, good point.
What's stupid? Okay, Molly. Overall, how useful would you say that SpongeBob is as a tool for education?
Okay. Not very. I mean, most of the species you see in the show are at least based on reality, okay? And I think half as many people wouldn't have even heard of sea sponges if it wasn't for SpongeBob. So in that way, I guess it's great PR. But with that said, there aren't many things in it which are accurate. So I wouldn't use it as a textbook.
That's a shame. That's really sad. But it's still funny.
Scientifically, I can confirm it is funny.
Yes, good. Well, thank you, Molly. You may have crushed my dreams, but that was very interesting. SpongeBob may have aged like Mr. Krabs very well. But as kids, there were some things that we missed.
Some very dark things, in fact. For instance, have you heard the theory that Mr. Krabs is actually a cannibal?
What?
Some people think so.
Why would they think that about Mr. Krabs? He would never be a cannibal. That's-
Okay. The theory goes like this. So, a lot of fans noticed on the Krusty Krab menu, there were lots of ingredients like the kelp shape or like coral bits.
Funny.
And their central ingredients got them wondering about how maybe the secret formula for the Krabby Patties is actually crab meat. And this is why that Mr. Krabs is so secretive about it and doesn't want anyone to know, because he's eating other crabs. Have you seen any other crabs in SpongeBob lore? In the
No,
SpongeBob world?
That's just because he's so unique. He's the only one. He's Mr. Krabs.
And don't forget, the Krusty Krab is literally shaped like a lobster.
Okay, no, but a lobster is not a crab. They're different things.
They're very similar. They're not
That's
far off.
It's ridiculous.
And as I know, real life crabs are actually cannibalistic.
This
so
is true.
it's
You
not that
did
far
just
off.
tell us this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but real life crabs aren't as good as Mr. Krabs, who is the best. This is ridiculous. If you're gonna keep going with this, I'm leaving. Because I'm not gonna
I
sit
think
here
this
and
seems
listen to
pretty
Mr.
accurate.
Krabs slander.
Okay.
Go on.
You'll be happy to know that Nickelodeon actually debunked this theory a few years ago, stating categorically that there's no crab meat in Krabby
I always
Patties.
believed in him. I would have never thought.
That's what they'd want you to think, though.
Oh my god. This isn't even the best SpongeBob theory. There are much more interesting ones than this.
Okay, hit me with one then.
Okay, did you know that SpongeBob is set in a nuclear wasteland?
I have not heard.
And this one actually has scientific backing, right?
Okay.
So Bikini Bottom is named after this real-life coral reef, right, called Bikini Atoll,
Yeah.
which is a real place in the Pacific Ocean, which is, really far away from the nearest big landmass, which is Australia. It's kind of just like off. Maybe we could pull up a picture. It's just sea and small islands. And islanders called Bikinians. And so Bikini Atoll, right, was used as a nuclear testing site by the US military from 1948 until 1956. They had to move the Bikinians off before they did all this testing, obviously, because they would have been bombed. And this is the real life place where SpongeBob is named after. There was a bomb they dropped there called Bravo, which was 1,000 times the size of the bombs dropped at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, a lot of radiation in this area. So much so that the people who were
2,000 years later.
exiled from there could never go back. Like their ancestors could never go back.
Yeah, but what does this actually have to do with
okay.
SpongeBob?
No, look, I'm getting there. So, this is where SpongeBob is set, right? And there are copious levels of radiation in this ocean. Maybe enough radiation to, I don't know, create a talking sponge and a talking sea star and a fish who lifts weights.
To be fair, they're all pretty weird.
They're weird fish.
Yeah.
There's that episode where SpongeBob goes to like the deep sea and they all talk with weird voices. They're like This sticks in my brain. They go like, I don't understand your accent. And that's how they speak. You're telling me that doesn't give mutant fish?
You know what? That's actually pretty convincing.
Yeah!
I like this.
And it's scientifically backed. And it doesn't involve Mr. Krabs being evil, because Mr. Krabs would never be evil.
And I suppose it's got the raising awareness about looking after the oceans.
Exactly! We have to look at... And Stephen Hillenburg would have loved
I guess he cares about that. All
I
right.
win.
I'll concede that yours makes sense.
I win. Thank you very much. Look, whether you believe the theories or not, it's clear that SpongeBob has picked up enough fans over the years to like generate these crazy conspiracies. This brings us back to our original question. Is it actually that good? Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, it's just, I remember watching it as a kid, and it was just so much fun, and it was so weird and silly. And I actually, researching for this, I went back and watched a bunch of episodes, and it's really funny.
It stands up to every age. Like, definitely. Like, the humor's in there for adults and for the younger kids.
If you rewatch it back now, you'll be, it's like cerebral at times. It's like so bizarre that I don't even know how they came up with these ideas for the episodes.
It's they have insane minds. An underrated aspect, in my opinion, as well, the music.
Oh!
It's actually banging.
Stop.
Listen to this.
Can we sing one? Do you know any of the words?
My favorite one is do you know that every time I do this, no one knows what I'm on about. But it's the one where it's like, welcome, Squidward's Tiki Land. And in the background, it's like,
I remember that one.
Yes!
I like one of my, actually in my top 20 songs on my Spotify Wrapped last year was a SpongeBob song. I swear to God. It was, do you know the Ripped His Pants one?
No.
It's like, no girl ever wants to dance with a fool who went and ripped his pants. It's so good. It genuinely goes hard.
Nah, the best one is I'm a Goofy Goober!
Okay, there are some really weird episodes of SpongeBob. In fact, so weird that I don't think you'll be able to tell if I make one up. And that brings us to our game. By now, you've probably picked up on the fact that SpongeBob was a very strange, to say the least, TV show. But how weird does it actually get? Let's play 2 catches and a red herring. Get it? It's like, see, it's a fish pun. It's a fish pun, guys. Here's how the game works. I'm going to read out 3 synopses of different SpongeBob episodes, but there's a catch, and not a fun kind. One of them was made up by yours truly from a pod in the Ass Library. It's your job to decipher, oh my god, Mr. Krabs. Sorry.
SpongeBob, me boy.
Oh my god, I didn't expect this. So that Molly has some help, we are joined by Mitchell.
Hello.
Tom. And Mr. Krabs.
I can't do an impression. That was terrible.
AKA
That was
Maliki.
terrible.
How are you guys feeling? How's your SpongeBob knowledge?
Good. I think I've got this on lock. I think
Confident?
yeah.
I'm glad he's
So
on this side
confident.
of me.
Don't worry, we're gonna get this.
Yeah.
It's not a team sport.
We're gonna get this.
We're forming an alliance right now.
Oh my god, this is crazy. We're watching geopolitics live on camera. What about you guys? How are you feeling?
To be fair, I'm not confident.
Yeah, my SpongeBob knowledge is not there.
Not the best?
It's
Okay,
not great. I'm sorry,
right.
SpongeBob.
Listening ears on, quiet lips. Sorry, boys and girls. Okay, here are 3 episodes. Listen properly. If you want me to repeat anything, feel free. This is not an episode of Would I Lie to You, so please don't quiz me on the episodes. Okay.
Wonderful.
Number 1. SpongeBob goes to collect Patrick for a joint outing, and Patrick tells him he'll come once he's put away his secret box. This drives SpongeBob crazy, and he begins coming up with increasingly dramatic ways to try and see into the box, distracting Patrick, sneaking into his house at night, and creating a mess searching for it. Eventually, Patrick wakes up and realizes what's happening, and he tells SpongeBob they're no longer friends. In fickle Patrick fashion, he immediately changes his mind and shows SpongeBob the box. Inside it is a single piece of string. Okay, we got it? We confident?
Okay.
Okay. 2. Mr. Krabs decides that from now on, the Krusty Krab will sell pizzas, not burgers, after it was revealed to him in a dream that pizzas would make him more money. SpongeBob, devastated, begs Mr. Krabs not to make the change because making Krabby Patties is his life's greatest joy, but to no avail. In this moment of weakness, Plankton is able to poach SpongeBob, enticing him with a new spatula. Pizzas don't end up working out for Mr. Krabs, and quickly he realises that the key to his success was SpongeBob all along, who is now happily in the chum bucket. Mr. Krabs realises he has to swallow his pride, and so he begs on his knees for SpongeBob to return. SpongeBob tells him that he knew he'd come around in the end and happily skips out, accidentally squishing Plankton in the process. The episode ends with the Chum Bucket's patrons running back to the Krusty Krab, continually squishing Plankton. What a shame. We good with that one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm a whole lot less confident now.
Somehow you made these really convincing and I have no
5.
idea.
No, sorry. 3. Patrick decides to rent out his garden to a caravan to get a bit of extra cash, leaving SpongeBob, Squidward and Patrick with a new neighbour called Howard. SpongeBob and Patrick continue being themselves, making loads of noise, blowing bubbles and laughing, which Squidward worries will make Howard move away, and he and Howard have started getting on really well. They play the clarinet together. So Squidward tells SpongeBob and Patrick to be quiet, but they don't. Eventually, Howard hears all this commotion and runs out of his mobile home, and upon investigating actually decides to join in with the bubble blowing, which enrages Squidward and causes him to push Howard's mobile home off a cliff. One of those was not real. Any initial thoughts?
Oh my god!
One of them wasn't real.
Wasn't real.
That was the whole premise of the game, Maliki, come on.
I knew it.
The thing is, I feel like I vividly remember every one of those.
Yeah, I can picture
Like,
all
quite
of them.
Oh, you were so confident. You didn't,
so
you didn't
confident.
believe in my abilities to concoct a convincing SpongeBob episode.
I think it's between two of them for me. Are
Okay.
we're coming to a unanimous decision, aren't we?
Okay,
Are we? Are we?
for as people who have never watched SpongeBob really, what
Yeah,
do
well,
you
you
think?
put us this side. Hang on a second. Why have you done this? The two people who have not watched that much SpongeBob.
Well, what are your initial reactions?
The first one sounded very convincing.
Mm-hmm.
The second one sounded very convincing.
No, you're not
The
helping.
third one sounded also
Are there
quite convincing.
any polls? Did you notice anything that didn't quite make
I-
sense?
I think that pizzas are a bit of a stretch in the SpongeBob universe.
Okay.
I also vote for pizzas.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You
I
don't
think
think so?
I think the pizza's quite like some reason that's like popping in my head. Like Mr. Krabs would like totally like miss SpongeBob.
I agree with that, but then
He's his boy, you know. He's his sweet cheese. Like,
They're like that.
his rotten
they
soldier.
are like that.
the point of the Krusty Krab, not that like there isn't any other good food. That's why they keep going to the Krusty Krab.
Okay,
So
I think we
pizzas
need
existed.
to settle on one. Are we gonna say pizzas?
I'm happy to go with
But
this.
I remember him going to the chum bucket.
So you remember him going to the chum bucket. Do we remember there being a spare neighbour? And are we sure
I
remember
that there was a
I feel like
I'm calling it. I'm calling it now. I'm still convinced by the pizzas, but I'm going for pizzas.
You're going
I
for
think that's the
pizzas?
unanimous decision.
yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to accept pizzas.
Pizzas.
As the fake one.
Yeah, pizzas the fake
Pizzas
one.
is the fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we right?
You are correct. Yeah! However, there was an episode of SpongeBob where he does sell pizzas. And that is not
Thought that.
how it goes.
I was gonna say this because the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me.
With that, the first ever episode of Are the Kids Alright is coming to a close. We hope that you learned a lot, had some dreams crushed maybe, and most of all, had a good dose of nostalgia. We will be back next week with a very special episode from one iconic laugh to another.
Go on, Mark, give us.
Go on, go on.